First drive review. Seat adjusting to my liking. Again, you can only adjust the seat from the screen now. You can't do that. There's no seat controls on the side of the seat here. Manual adjustment of the steering wheel. I will say the seats are comfortable. I like the fabric. It's nice. There is wind noise, which I will get to in a sec. But we're just going to take a little drive here of the new Model Y Standard. It's 98 degrees here in Austin, Texas, in true Austin, Texas form. So I have the 2026 Launch Series Model Y, and you know the suspension between the Legacy Y and the new premium Model Y, I guess they're calling it now. It is a huge difference. But I have to say, this uses the old sort of suspension setup. Let me get it right. The standard multi-link suspension. And it feels like it's better than the Legacy version. It feels comfortable. This vehicle is a lot quieter than I thought it would be, considering, you know, there's no acoustic glass, and you know, they got rid of probably some sound deadening. But it's really comfortable. Not as much wind noise as I thought there'd be. You do hear some, especially on higher speeds around the mirror area. That's to be expected. But it feels good to drive. The acceleration, 6.8 seconds, 0 to 60, I have to say it's fine. Like, it's plenty quick for like the vast majority of people that are going to be in this price range. If you want a quicker vehicle, all right, spend the extra money. I think it looks pretty good. I like that it looks different. You know, I didn't want this to just be the same looking Model Y. I think having that sort of differentiation is good. The suspension feels not nearly as firm, I think, as most people will expect it to. It's still not as great, you know, obviously, as the Model Y Premium suspension. I'm driving around Austin right now, and this thing hasn't been formally announced yet. And it's sort of funny to be driving past Teslas and see people like, wait, what was that? Was that a Model Y? You know, because we've seen all the spy shots over the last, you know, however many months. But this is the first time it's been, I think, on the road uncovered in the public like this. The interior feels good, I think, for a sort of affordable entry-level model. The seats are comfortable. I like the fabric. You still got 2 wireless chargers. I really like this open concept for the center console. It sort of takes after the Cybertruck, and it's so much better, I think. Actually, I prefer it over my all-wheel drive Model Y center console, because there's so many instances where I have like a bag or just something I want to throw like right in the center console area, but I can't because mine's closed. So the fact that this is open, I think, is great. I think people are going to actually prefer this. So it'll be interesting to see if Tesla switches to that for the other ones. You do lose a little bit of storage, obviously, because, you know, you don't have as much down below storage. But I find that, you know, things just get lost when it goes that deep anyways, and you tend to not reach down there very often. So you still got this, which is plenty, you know, if you want to sort of hide something, or you have the glove box. No ventilation, no ventilated seats because they're cloth. But you do have heated seats in the front. The heated seats in the rear are gone. That's to save cost. And the fabric roof definitely helps. And with this Austin sun, I find that whenever I'm here and I'm in a Tesla, even though that the new Model Ys have 30% better heat rejection on the roof, it still gets pretty hot, and you do have to crank the AC because of that, which lowers the overall efficiency of the vehicle. And so this helps with that, blocks out that heat. I mean, you can definitely tell the suspension is a little bit worse, but it's not like drastically worse, I don't think, at least. Yeah, the handling feels good, actually. All right, we are gonna go on the highway, try some FSD, see how it sounds at higher speeds. All right, FSD in the Model Y Standard. Let's see how she feels. I'm gonna head back to Giga Texas to try out the Model 3 Standard. So far, so good. I know you can't see the ahead of me, so you don't know what I'm looking at, but about to merge onto the highway here. You actually can't obviously mount a suction cup phone holder or camera holder on the roof anymore because it's not glass. it's fabric. So it'll be interesting to see how people film FSD videos. Maybe they just set up a tripod or something behind. I think people are going to be surprised how quiet this car is, actually, considering the price, what they stripped out, the lack of acoustic glass. I mean, even the front windows don't have acoustic glass, and it still sounds pretty good. Again, wind noise at higher speeds, you are going to hear that. But in terms of city driving or, everyday driving, should be fine for most people. All right, so there's a garbage truck next to me, and I know for a fact this would be a lot quieter in my Model Y. So you definitely notice some more noise there, but again, not the end of the world. Fabric seats are nice. I think I like that new naming setup. Model Y Standard, Model Y Premium, rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive, and then Model Y Performance. I think that's a better name than just Model Y all-wheel drive or Model Y long-range all-wheel drive. I think we can get rid of the range part of all of the trims. I don't see a need to put that in there, especially if this Model Y Standard has over 300 miles of range, which it does. On the 18-inch wheels, it has 321 miles of range. So all of the trims are pretty similar in terms of range, so there really isn't any point to call it long range anymore. FSD is handling the highway good, changing lanes comfortably, adjusting to the speeds good, and again, this car has all 8 cameras, same thing as the other Model Ys have, so no difference there. All right, we're gonna turn left here as soon as the Model Y is comfortable to do so. There we go. Going around this car and speeding up. And another left. Nicely done. I want to thank Tesla, obviously, for inviting me. I've never actually been invited to one of these type of events before. I've been to Tesla events, but not to like a product launch or showing before it's actually been unveiled to the world. So really appreciate the opportunity for that. And it's always fun to come to Giga Texas. Every time I come back, there's so much that's different. I mean, I'm hoping at some point I can tour the Cortex supercomputer, Cortex 1 and eventually Cortex 2. So I'd love to see all those GPUs, racks, massive data center that's helping train FSD, what we're using, and eventually probably Optimus as well. I'm probably going to cut it off here just so people don't know exactly what the procedure is for going into Giga Texas. Thank you all for watching. I'm going to cut into now my sort of test drive of the Model 3 Standard. That'll probably be shorter just because it's not that much different. And I appreciate you guys watching. If you appreciate the content or just appreciate my X content in general, feel free to subscribe to me on X for $3.99 a month. Always appreciated. All right, thanks everybody. Take care. All right, first drive of the new Model 3 Standard. So this starts at $36,990, and it's the same battery pack as the Model Y Standard, so 69 kilowatt hours. You got 321 miles of range on the 18-inch wheels, and then 303 miles on the 19-inch wheels. I got the new 18s on this one, and feels pretty comfortable so far. I like the interior. Just like with the Model Y Standard, I find the seats to be comfortable. And this thing is plenty fast for the average person. You got a 5.8, is it? 5.8 second 0 to 60. And it's really that torque that makes it feel quicker than it actually is. All right, so we're going 68 miles an hour right now. Let's turn on FSD actually. Yeah. So doing FSD version 13 in this Model 3 standard. But you do hear that sort of wind noise more in the mirror area. But just like the Model Y standard, it's still very quiet here. And the suspension it's adequate. It's fine. It's comfortable. So like I said in the Model Y first drive, the Model 3 interior of the standard isn't that much different like it is between the Model Y standard and the Model Y Premium. The Model 3 standard and the Model 3 Premium are very, very similar in terms of interior. Outside of like the no multicolor ambient lighting here, the fabric in the doors, the fabric seats. You still got the closed center console, so unlike the Model Y standard, you got a closed center console with the Model 3, just like the other current Model 3s have. You got the same wireless chargers, you got the same screen, same setup. You do have to control your seat through the screen entirely. There's no seat controls on the side here. Actually, I just noticed this. There is fabric in the door lining. That's interesting. So that carries over then from the higher trim Model 3s, whereas then the Model Y standard, that's just all hard plastic. Okay. So if you like the Model 3 Premium and you just want to save a little more money, this vehicle might be the one to get. Because you really, for $5,000 in savings, you're not making as many trade-offs as you are with the Model Y standard. And if you look above, I don't know if you can see the roof, there's no fabric roof like there is in Model Y standard. You get the full panoramic glass roof. And that's because Tesla felt like with sedans, you already don't have that much headroom. I'm a shorter guy, so I have some extra headroom. FSD's doing great, by the way. The exterior is completely the same, really. It's not like the Model Y, which has a different look, Model Y standard versus the premium trims. The Model 3 standard on the exterior, outside of like the new 18-inch wheels and the wheel covers, there's really no difference that I can tell. And you can check out my walk around review of that I released a few days ago. Okay, so there's definitely some more wind noise, car noise on the side as you're going 65, 70 on the highway. I know you can't see where I'm going, but this is to prove that FSD works just as good in the standard trims as it does in the premium trims. This is probably somewhat of a boring review. Alright, so I'm going to go manual driving now. Give it a feel. Yeah, so the steering feels the same. I mean, what more is there to say, really? I mean, this is very similar to the current 3, with a few minor changes to save on cost, bring down the price. Smaller battery pack, smaller wheels. I suspect that most people will ultimately prefer the Model 3 Premium rear-wheel drive versus this Model 3 Standard rear-wheel drive. But we'll see. Some people might just want to save that $5,000 and be fine with the cloth seats, the multi-link suspension. It's a comfortable cruiser, I think is a fair way to put it. Teslas have always been good cruising vehicles. This car will be great, I think, for a lot of people that want to buy a Tesla, step in the door, get an EV, but don't want to spend a lot more money for some premium features that they don't necessarily want or will use. If you include some state EV incentives, this car, you could get it for low 30s, brand new. Whether it be Colorado or Massachusetts or some other states have EV incentives too, but you could get this car like in Mass, I think, or Colorado, I think, for $33,500-ish with those EV credits. I do kind of wish that the Model Y and Model 3 Standard had started at like 35 and 37.5. I guess it was sort of a balance between stripping out enough to bring down the cost by $5,000, but not stripping out so much that people are just so turned off by how much was stripped out. I think they probably learned a little bit from the Cybertruck rear-wheel drive. A lot was stripped out to get that down to $70,000 versus the $80,000 for the all-wheel drive version, and people just didn't respond to it well. I think, at least with that car, with the truck rather, I think if you can afford a $70,000 truck, you can afford an $80,000 truck. So that's probably why I think people didn't spring for the entry-level model. It was still just too expensive for what you were getting. We're gonna pull into the hotel here in a minute, but yeah, this car feels great. It's still sporty, and the suspension is fine. It's good. And FSD is good. Tesla's at an interesting point. They're in this in-between period where like car sales are still important to them. They generate most of their profits from car sales still. Although energy is becoming a growing part of that. Autonomy, AI, and robotics is by far what's going to propel this company to a multi-trillion-dollar market cap. And that is the future of this company. And people buying cars with steering wheels, I think that eventually will become a thing of the past for most people. Why buy a car when you can just take a robotaxi that'll do $1 or $1.30 a mile cost-wise? That's what Tesla's robotaxis cost now. Of course, the Cybercab will bring that down further. I don't think we're going to be seeing a ton of vehicle refreshes in the coming years because Tesla's going to be transitioning to just driverless cars without steering wheels. That's the future of the company, and of course Optimus. All right, pulling in. I'm doing this sort of in reverse. I'm doing the first drive review first, and then I'm doing the walk around. But thank you all for watching, and I will catch you guys later. Take care.